What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the 1% podcast. I'm joined by, I was going to say magic hands, but that was such a bad intro. I'm joined by the man himself, Toby. Magic hands, we'll go with it. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, good, man. I'm very good. My hands are, they fix people. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a perfect
feel better with my hands.
Yeah. Cool. If anybody doesn't know you, let's get to know you, mate. Like just a short intro to who you are, what you do, bud.
Okay. I'm Toby, and I'm the founder and owner and lead therapist of DXB Sports Massage. So basically, my job is to use these magic hands to fix people. So anything from an ache, a pain, a niggle, a full-on chronic injury, all the way through to just recovery or competition and training preparation. That's what me and my team at DXB Sports Massage do. So I come from Scotland. I started a sports injury company when I was quite young there. Wasn't enjoying my experience in the UK. So sold the company, moved to Dubai to do something a little bit different. With some sports coaching, just staying in that sports industry. But I wanted to get back into sports medicine, back into physio, back into massage. And so about 18 months ago, started this company in Dubai. And now it's flourishing, and we're a registered business, and we're hiring people and bringing people in on visas and going around Dubai, making people feel better. That's me.
No, that sums it up great. But yeah, that's it. And obviously, I can't even remember. Oh, it was on the Facebook group actually. How I heard about you. I don't know if it was. I don't know who commented or something like that.
Dubai or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. And then obviously, I see you every week now. So obviously, Toby does all my like sports massage work, deep tissue work, and generally it's one of those things that it benefits you, but like until you're actually performing, training, all this sort of stuff, you don't actually realize how much of benefit it makes. Like I saw you Tuesday, right? It's Thursday today, and I actually trained back yesterday, and then I had back and hamstrings, funny enough. So it was like, and then on Tuesday you actually worked on back and hamstrings, so all posterior for me. But generally that session, I was like, I could connect to the tissue so much better. I could feel contractions better, all this sort of stuff. So even you can bring it, and I guess into my sort of stuff. What's the main focus, even with my kind of like weekly MOT work, really?
So like a lot of people, a bit like you said, you don't know that you need it until you get it. A lot of people, they don't know that they're in bad posture, or that they're stiff, or that they're sore, or that they're tight, until I've done a session on them. And even if somebody books me in for a shoulder issue or whatever it may be, and I start work, they go, oh man, I didn't know I was tight there. Or, oh, I didn't know that needed to be worked on. Or, oh, no one's ever touched that before. And then after the session, it's like, oh my God, is that what it's supposed to feel like? Is that what being free feels like? So a lot of the time I'll see people and they don't even know that they have an issue. Or even if you're sitting at home watching this and you think, well, I feel kind of okay, but maybe you do a lot of weight, so you spend a lot of time on the laptop, or you're on your phone, or you write a lot, whatever it is. Most people are in, or you drive a lot, most people are in this grounded position. And even if you can go to the gym and exercise, you don't know that you're stiff until somebody gives you a nice sort of deep tissue full release. And you stand up and you're like, oh, damn, that's actually what it feels like. Must be a bit like when people don't know that they've got bad vision until they put a pair of glasses on and go, holy shit, I can see. So
yeah, so
it's
true.
A lot of the time it's one of those things where you don't know you've got a lot of issues or problems until somebody gets their hands on you. And then I guess for you, I'm like a maintenance guy or an MOT guy for you. Like a bit like when your car goes in for a service, before there's nothing wrong, the light pops up on the dashboard saying that it needs a service. Check its brakes and its oil and everything else. That's what I do for you. Each week I come in, and it's to make sure that things don't go wrong, so you can still train, rather than you waiting until you get an ache or a niggle and then we act on it. So it's prevention rather than fixing an issue that's then arisen. So it's like prehab rather than rehab.
I think that's the biggest thing that anyone could literally take away from this now, is that people reach out for help when it's almost too late. Like regardless of what industry you're in, right? Like fitness, people reach out to when they're overweight and they're unhappy, instead of taking action X amount of months before. People wait until they're like crippled like this and they can't move their neck until they reach out to you. But actually, if people saw you on a regular basis, you probably like, you're never going to have an issue really. Because what I like about your sessions as well is that you're like, oh, actually try try banded warm-ups, or put the, I think it was when I had that knee niggle, and you're like, oh, I actually do some stuff with the ball and things like that. So you're giving homework. So there's always something to do. And it's obvious if you don't do the homework, right? Because it's like,
yeah. So I can tell, and other therapists can tell. And I'm not like a traditional like physiotherapist where they do a whole bunch of assessments, they do a few minutes of some manual work, and then they give you some exercises to do X amount of times a day, X amount of times a week, and then you see the next week and you reassess it and you do the exercises. My ethos and my approach is very much more like get hands-on, allow you to continue to train, but maybe we'll modify what you do. So you've got an issue, rather than completely avoiding the training stimulus that might aggravate it, we modify what you do. So we give you an exercise or a warm-up that's going to switch things on a little bit better, so you can continue to train and continue to do the movements you want to do, but still staying safe and still getting better.
Yeah, 100%. And then just run through some of like the methods that you use, because obviously like I've asked you questions like this when you're doing work as well. So like a lot of people see things from Instagram and YouTube and all this sort of stuff, and like I think especially because it's like fashionable, right, sort of thing. So we can talk about scraping, cupping, all this sort of stuff. Like just run me through kind of what's your approach to like your service at the end of the day, because like you take your own brand and you put your own twist on it, right?
Yeah, so I'll take a full medical background check on you to find out. You might have a shoulder issue, but I'm going to ask you, and you'll know this from the first time I met you, I'm going to ask you all about the injuries that you've had before, whether you've had injuries here or there, whether you've had surgery, what your medical history is. And that just tells me as a therapist more about what's going on with your body, what might have happened to your body, and what sort of adaptive changes your body might have undergone after these injuries or these issues, so that I've got a better picture when I come and give you your treatment. There's loads of different types of massage. As most people watching will know, you get all the stuff that you get in a spa, like Swedish massage, and the ones where they put whale music on and rub oil into you nice and slow, and you fall asleep, and hot stone and all that kind of stuff. That's not really my gig, but even in sports massage, there's different ways that you can give your treatment. So I'm more of like a sports therapist rather than a massage therapist, because I'm not just doing massage. We're doing some really aggressive deep tissue stuff. We're doing pressure pointing. I'm doing stretching. We're doing some PNF work, which, if you don't know, is kind of like nerve stretching and like passive and active stretching with and against the muscles to improve your flexibility. Fascia scraping and blading, and we can talk about that in a minute. Something else that's popped up loads all over social media recently is cupping. Even Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, posted a picture on his Instagram a few weeks back about him covered in cups, and it was the first time that he'd had these cups put on him. And all of a sudden on my Instagram and my clients, they were asking about it. And you could say it's a fad or it's fashionable because obviously somebody of figure or authority has done it, but these types of techniques have been around for forever, and we adapt them sort of day to day. So we do cupping, although it's been made like popular and fashionable recently. We've been doing it for a long time. Like I said earlier, fascia blading. Basically, we'll put together as many. If you jump on Google and type in sports therapy or massage techniques, we put together all of those into one treatment. So you get a mixture of like physiotherapy, cupping, needling, acupuncture, all that kind of stuff. But we use all of that to make you feel better rather than just massage.
So let's kind of like, so what do you think is like, we might as well kind of run through techniques and kind of what they mean to people as well. Because obviously I think people sometimes feel like they might get a disservice if they don't get some of these things. But I'm almost like, I'm very old school. I'm like hands-on. Like I'd rather a thumb, an elbow, a knuckle sort of in there half the time. So what are the benefits? What is the benefit of, like, what's the most popular ones? Like scraping and cupping right now, I guess.
Yeah. So at the moment, I get more requests for cupping as a like alternative or different treatment compared to anything else. The majority of the time, 90% of the sessions that I do are deep tissue massage or sports massage. And some of you guys might be sitting at home thinking, what is sports massage? What's deep tissue massage? What's the difference? Basically, it's some more aggressive, higher pressure, more specific massage directly on the areas that you have issues with. So if you go and get a massage They might give you like an all over routine, if you like. They'll start at the bottom, they'll go to the top, and they'll give you the same routine they do morning to night with every single person. Whereas your sports massage is specific to the issue or the injury or the ache or the niggle that you have. So, for example, when I see you, we pretty much focus on that left shoulder and upper back region. Sometimes we go through your posterior chain, but we don't go through the same thing every week. Every session is different. It's mostly that sticky shoulder and that sticky lat and trap that you have. So we focus on that. So sports massage is a bit more specific, a bit more focused. And that's the technique or the practice I get asked for the most. Cupping, I'll jump back to cupping. It's become more popular because it's up on social media a lot. We just had the Olympics. There's a lot of UFC fighting and things like that on the TV at the moment. And these guys are popping into the ring or the octagon with them all over their bodies. Cupping is a really old therapy or an old treatment. It's kind of, most people believe it comes from a Chinese background. Essentially what cupping is, and if you've not seen it before, it's when a cup is put onto the skin and then vacuumed through various methods. And it sucks the skin and it sucks the muscle and it sucks the fascia and it sucks the blood up into the cup. And it actively stretches and lengthens some of the fibers and the tissues that are underneath where the cup is placed. But you'll see the circular bruises or markings on people's skin from where the cups have been placed. And what those markings are is it's blood in the area. It is a bruise. So these cups that go on the skin that suck up, they pull blood into the area. So the more blood, the more oxygen, the more nutrients, the more it flushes through the cell. So it helps with cell recovery. So essentially that's what cupping does, is it increases the blood flow to the area. So the cells are getting more oxygen, more nutrients to help aid the recovery and the replenishment of the damaged muscle or damaged tissue underneath where you place the cup.
So the darker the bruise, does that mean there's more of, like, I guess you could call it like an injury point, or there's more trauma to the muscle at that point?
There's different theories behind how one area is darker, one area is lighter. But typically what I find is if I'm running across somebody's injured back and shoulder, let's say, usually there's a point where it feels a bit knotted or it's a bit tighter or it's a bit more painful. If I place cups across that area, usually where that knotted or tight or more painful area is, the bruising there often becomes a lot darker. Typically it's because there's less oxygen in the cell. So when you have a knot or a sore muscle, there's less oxygen getting to the cell because it's damaged. It's sending more signals to the brain. That's why a knot is painful. So there's less oxygen there. It's sending a faster signal to the brain to say, ouch, there's something going on here. So deoxygen, we'll get a bit sort of technical here, I guess.
No,
deoxygenated blood is blue. That's why when you look at your veins, your veins are blue. So deoxygenated blood means blood that hasn't got any oxygen in, right? If you cut yourself, instantly the blood comes out red, and that's because it's become oxidized, right? So when you get oxygenated blood, it's red. So typically a darker, more purple, more bluish bruise in that area could indicate that there's less oxygen in that area, which could indicate that there are more damaged cells in that area. So less oxygen is getting there. And that's why sometimes if it's a more damaged area or a more knotted or a tighter or a more painful area, those bruises are darker. So you could say, or you could argue, if you put cupping on somebody's muscle and the really, really dark, really purple areas, you could say those are the more damaged areas of the muscle. And that's why typically damaged tissue holds less oxygen. So when the blood's pulled there, it's darker, it's more blue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
So what I never get is, obviously, like, you see it on social media, right, where someone's back is fully cupped, and I don't get the point of that, because, like, obviously, like, I know for you, like, we've done it on that left shoulder, and you've put it but you've obviously found an area, you put the cups on, let it do its job, but then you work on something else. So this is kind of gonna be that really, like, so if you pay someone to go and you just get full of cups, they just leave you there and don't do any work?
Yeah, a lot of the time. So I don't like using cupping as a single therapy, because For some people it works, for some people it doesn't. So some people try cupping and they love it and it feels amazing and it's sorted out their problem and they feel loosey-goosey afterwards. Awesome. But some people try cupping and it doesn't work for them. They don't feel any different or they don't like it. So I always mix cupping with another treatment, whether it's fascia blading and scraping, again, which is another technique to bring blood and oxygen to the area to help with cell recovery, or whether it's deep tissue or it's stretching. I'll try and amalgamate all of these things as well as the cupping. So let's use you as an example, because I know a lot of the guys watching this will be following the stuff that you post on social media, and I feature there once a week. So we'll work across your lat or we'll work across your trap, and there'll be an area that's particularly tight, particularly sticky. Maybe it's across the top of your shoulder blade into your shoulder where your infraspinatus muscle is. We've placed the cup there a couple of times. When I've placed the cup there, it's always after we've done a lot of work on that area. So we'll do some deep tissue stuff. We get the blood flowing. We warm it up. We relax it. We soften it. We lengthen it. Then I'll put the cup on. And cupping's a sort of passive therapy, if you like. If I put cups on you, I then can walk away from you because the cups now are doing their job. Yeah, they're sucking the blood into the area. They're elongating and stretching the muscle in that area. I don't need to do anything now. So if you go see somebody and they just cover you in cups, yeah, they could put the cups on you and walk away for 20 minutes, 30 minutes,
yeah,
and not do anything and then come back. And for me, I feel like that's a bit of a disservice. And also, it doesn't work for some people. So you might just have wasted your money and your time. Whereas at least if I give you a bit of stretching, a bit of deep tissue, a bit of myofascial release, and then put the cups on, yes, it's a bit more unclear which variable is working and creating that solution for your issue, but you're getting more service. And typically, I don't cover the whole area in cups. I like to put it just on the areas where there's an issue. So the reason for that, I know I'm very good with my hands and releasing and loosening off muscles. And also sometimes putting cups on can be painful. So I don't need to cover your whole area in cups and give you pain that you don't necessarily need. And I don't use them all the time either. So I don't use them all the time with you. Sometimes I'm working across the area and I think, you know what? That's a bit stubborn. It's not really breaking down. I can't loosen it off. It's unnecessarily painful for you when I'm sticking my thumb in. Let's put a cup on it. Let's see if that loosens it off. There's not always one way of doing it. You could be working your way through somebody's body or muscle group or issue, and then just think, oh, do you know what? This isn't working. Let's try something else. So it's like an additional therapy. So I never use it just as one.
Yeah, because I remember you doing that because it was that left side again, and I remember you putting like 3 or 4 cups on, and then you ended up taking like 3 of them off because you're like they weren't doing anything, and you just left that one on or something like that. So it just goes. That's the thing. It just goes to show you, like, I think that's the thing. When you can feel something, it's like, okay, cool. There's the point, and then does it target that point? But otherwise, it's just one of those things. You're just like, and then what was the other one you told me about? It was like where they do cupping, but then they cut your skin. Like,
so it's hijama. It's called.
Yeah, that sounds fucking.
So it's wet cupping. Is also how it's known. So wet cupping is essentially the cupping that I've previously described. You put a cup on. I have some here. Shall I just go grab one and just?
Yeah, go for it.
What is cupping? Right, yeah. 1 sec. I actually just before we jumped on, I just treated a client in my living room, and actually we used some cups on him on his back. So
oh, nice.
Essentially, this is a cup for those of you that haven't seen them before. Essentially, you place. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. You place it on the area you want it to be on. I think this is going to be too big. Then this plunger essentially creates the vacuum, so it sucks the. Yeah, let's use it on my forearm. So it sucks the tissue into the cup. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you see that like this. So that's essentially how you put on a cup.
And yeah, you can see it going red already. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so it pours the blood into the area. You can see that that's getting a little bit red. If I take it off, it's only been on for 5 seconds. You can just see a little mark. Yeah. But if we place that on a damaged area, we leave it for 10, 15 minutes, that vacuum is going to suck, a bit like a love bite. It's going to suck the blood into the area, and do all of those things that I spoke about earlier. Anyway, hijama or wet cupping is when you place these cups on the area and you use this plunger, you suck the air out of it, you get the skin sucked up into the cup. But before you do that, you slice the skin with a scalpel blade. So you make tiny little incisions, and I do this too, but not very often, only if it's like a special request. But essentially you cut the skin with a scalpel blade 20, 30, 40, 50 times, tiny little incisions, and it just feels like a little scratch when somebody's doing it. And then you place the cup on, and the suction will, obviously you've sliced somebody open, the suction will pull blood into the cup. And if you want to Google, guys, wet cupping now,
I'm so doing that now. Yeah,
but it's disgusting, so make sure you're not eating. I've actually just had some soup, so it's like, and it looks like soup as well. It sucks blood into the cup from the skin, and it becomes a really thick gelatin, like jelly, gooey, horrible looking substance inside the cup. And what that's doing is it's pulling the blood directly out of the damaged tissue and out of the skin, and it's supposed to be pulling the toxins directly out the skin as well. So massage stimulates your circulation, and as such can release some toxins from your body. It makes things run around your body a little bit more effectively or efficiently, makes your kidneys work a little bit to sort of filtrate things and such like, and that's pulling the toxins out of the body, and then eventually you'll pass them. The theory behind the wet cupping is that it pulls the toxins with the blood directly out of the body straight away, so it doesn't have to flush through your lymphatic system in order to do that.
Damn. The big question is, what happens when you take the cup off?
So you'd have a whole bunch of this.
Okay, right.
You'd release the...
like catching a spider. Like
exactly. Release the cup, and then I wish I had somebody here to show you. You release the cup, then you would grab your kitchen roll, whatever it is, and scoop it up, and then you've got a bucket full of jelly and gunk and stuff. But if you want to watch some interesting videos, you could Google it on the skull. So if you Google it on the scalp, scalp wet cupping is very, very interesting to watch. Like I said, I don't really do a lot of it. I don't see the benefit in it really, and it creates a risk because you're cutting someone open. You've got a risk of infection there. You've got a risk of bleeding, and maybe the cuts don't heal very well depending on somebody's medical background or their circulatory condition, etc. And I just think most people's bodies are effective enough at circulating and flowing things around. You don't need to pull the blood directly out. But there's loads of other reasons why somebody would do wet cupping. Like loads. It's not just for helping with, I'm not a specialist in it, so I can't preach it, but it's not just for all of the reasons that I listed earlier, releasing muscle tension, helping cell recovery, making things feel a bit looser and more supple. I think there are lots of spiritual things around it as well. And
I was going to say, like, I think that's the same as cupping, isn't it? When people are like, oh, I think it works for me. I'm like, do you think it's more of a placebo, like a psychological thing? Because a lot of time it's like, I have evidence that work's been done on me, sort of thing. And I sometimes people think that instead of like, actually, did you actually have an issue, sort of thing? Like, because if you have like a tight shoulder blade or you have a tight lower back, like hands on, if you release that, you stand up, you feel it straight away. But I think if it's more of like, go on.
You're getting value as well if you go see a therapist, whether it's a physio, an osteopath, chiropractor, whatever. If they chat to you about your condition and then you do a few exercises and a few assessments and then you leave, you're like, okay, I've got some homework to do, but like they didn't really help me with my problem. You maybe don't feel the value. Whereas if you go and see a therapist that's hands-on, my approach is very much like 95% of it hands-on. We'll have a quick chat at the beginning and then it's like an hour of as much therapy as I can possibly give you with my hands. You feel something afterwards, and with the cups they leave a mark, so you can visibly see it days afterwards. So even if it's not made an actual physiological difference, sometimes mentally people will go, oh yeah, I had that cupping done, I can see it, actually, you know what, I do feel good. And for anybody that is a massage therapist or a physio or a sports therapist, whatever, watching, some like hot tips, things like albus oil or eucalyptus oil or anything mentholy, tiger balm, that kind of thing, if you use that on the muscles towards the end of your appointment, people will, you feel it, it's a bit tingly, right? So you leave, they walk out the door, they get in their car, they can feel it, they can feel your treatment, they can feel your therapy, they can smell it too. And smell's one of the biggest things that relate you to other things that you've experienced. So they might at one point later on in the week smell tiger balm or smell mint or smell whatever it is that you've used in your oil, and they go, oh yeah, I had that treatment, and then it relates them back to the treatment that you've given them. So they're thinking about you and your therapy and the treatment you've given them after the treatment. And sometimes that's an effective way of actually giving treatment, whether it's a placebo effect or not. People are like, oh yeah, I went to see someone about that. Now I feel better, or actually it does feel good. And it reminds them of you as well. It encourages rebookings. They get that sort of value for money feeling. I used to do it a lot with KT tape as well, the stretchy sports tape all over athletes. So obviously cupping became popular very recently because it was jumping about social media from some movie stars. But a few years ago, or a few Olympics ago, there was KT tape, that colorful sports tape, all over athletes. And every teenager and every amateur athlete and every gym goer, suddenly everyone was covered in pink tape, yellow tape, Union Jack tape, camouflage tape, and they didn't even have yeah, man. So like teenagers saw it and they were like, oh, that looks cool. And oh, mom, I've got a sore knee, I need to get taped. Or like, oh, Usain Bolt just ran a world record wearing tape on his shoulder, so I need to get taped on my. And that happens as well. So people are influenced by seeing things online, and then all of a sudden they need it, whether it's going to improve their performance or not. So as a therapist, it's kind of like an ethical question mark. Like, do you give them something that they don't need? If you're running a business or you're working for yourself, hell yeah. If I do some work on someone's shoulder and then they go, can you tape me up? And in my head, I'm like, you don't need that at all. Yeah, cool. I'm going to give you some tape if that's what you want, because it might make them feel better. They're going to remember it a few days after. So that's going to relate them back to your business. And if you're proficient at providing that extra service, whatever it is, you're going to add a benefit or improve their quality of life or their quality of movement, whatever it is, anyways, by adding it. But yeah, these fads that you see, well, maybe fad's the wrong word, but these things that you see, cupping and taping and stuff like that, they come in and out of fashion. They're very relevant in practice, whether or not you're using them or you're not using them, but they have other effects, not just the physiological effect, but the sort of the business effect afterwards as well.
That literally sums up Dubai life, doesn't it? That's trendy, we must do that.
Yeah. And I don't know what it's like in your world, but it must be the same. Like you might see, an online bodybuilder does supersets, and all of a sudden, every single online trainer is now programming supersets or drop sets, or you must train to fatigue, or they do the like muscle occlusion and they wrap a band around get the pump on their bicep as much as they can, and they post that on a video that says, "This is how I get massive biceps," and it gets 5 million views in 3 weeks. And then every other online trainer is like, what you got to do, and then you see everybody doing it in the gym. And it's the same in my industry, and it must be the same in
it's every industry. Me and Cam were talking about this as well, because obviously Cam's going to be coming back, and obviously you've got your hands full again. But yeah, we were talking about this with like training methods and same sort of thing. Like, and it was kind of like he was almost saying it was the same sort of thing as like UK. He was like, you go into gyms there and everyone's like dressed the same, doing the same, and things like that. And you're like, because you've got some like top people who are just falling down, and everyone's like, yeah, let's do that because it must work. And you're like, well, actually they all work. Just find a system that works best for you.
Yeah, this is what I try and tell a lot of people, that you need to find something that works for you. So like I said earlier, some people have cupping and they love it and it feels great. Other people have cupping and they don't like it and it doesn't make a difference. It just means it doesn't work for you. And then I'll see a client for the first time, I'm giving them a sports massage or a deep tissue massage. And afterwards, they might send me a WhatsApp and go, bro, I couldn't train for 3 days. Like, I felt like I've been hit by a bus. And I'll tell people, you might feel a bit bruised, you might feel a bit beaten up. But if I stop you from training because of the therapy that I've done, that's not the best method for you. And there are a whole bunch of other different types of massage techniques that are maybe not necessarily using my elbow and then high pressure, but maybe I'm doing a little bit more effleurage, so a little bit more skin friction and moving the blood around the body rather than forcing a muscle. And that might work better for you. So there's not always a right way for everybody out there. So I guess if you're struggling to, I don't know, get massive and the drop sets that you're doing are not the right thing, or you're doing a 4-second eccentric instead of whatever you were doing, high reps or what have you, then there is a way that will work for you. And similarly, if you've got an injury and you're stretching all the time, maybe stretching is not what you need or what your body responds better to, but you might respond better to foam rolling or some other type of stimulus. So for you guys that are watching and maybe you feel like you're at a plateau with something, try for a period of a couple of weeks or longer another method of doing whatever it is you're trying to do, because you'll find that there is something that works for you eventually.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because like normally I'm okay. Like 24 hours after seeing you, I'm okay. But mate, I could just when you went into that left tricep, I was like, today I was like, oh, I can still feel it. Like not like I still like it was fine to train it today, but you know me like, cool, like fucking hell, like I think it was like touching it, and I was like, oh, it's a bit tender around the elbow, but it felt like it wasn't like a painful, but it was like for me, because obviously that left side's always a bit weird for some reason. But like I generally feel like I did like extensions and I could feel like I could lock out with comfort sort of thing instead of like a restriction. And that things like that feel weird when you can actually complete a full movement. You're like, oh, and it felt like the muscle contracted better. Things like that.
So it's meant to be. That's like what I said earlier, when you don't know you've got an issue, but then if you get a release by somebody that does a job like me, and then all of a sudden you can move the whole way you're supposed to, and you're like, well, damn, that's how it's supposed to feel. But I had the same. So I was doing some work with Alana, my team member, at the start of the week on Sunday. She did some fascia blading and some scraping on my tricep. And that was on Sunday. We're Thursday today. Yesterday, so 2 days later, I did an upper body session in the gym. I was doing some tricep dips on the bench, and Jesus, I could feel my arm, like it felt bruised and it was sore. So that, I guess, it's just a way of showing like, one, my body's reacted to the treatment, and two, like maybe that's not the best treatment for me if I felt pain whilst I was training, but it didn't affect what I was doing, and I knew the treatment that she gave me was appropriate for what I needed. But there's all kinds of ways that you might feel after you get a treatment.
Yeah, 100%. Let's flip it upside down. Why Scotland to Dubai?
Yeah, okay. I love Dubai, by the way. I was meant to be here for 2 years. Like everybody's meant to be here for like a year or two.
Yeah, everyone just comes here. Yeah.
I'm gonna save some money. I'm gonna be loaded, and then I'm gonna go back to the UK.
Yeah.
No, I spent all my savings. I didn't save any money, and I've been here 4 years now, and I got absolutely zero plans to leave. And I think everybody falls into that little bit of a trap. Oh, and there's something called a Dubai stone. So if you're thinking about moving to Dubai, the Dubai stone might hit you as well. And that's anybody that moves here puts on a stone in weight, just from like eating and drinking and the lifestyle out here. Anyway, I love Dubai. So I moved here.
You just get fat, but otherwise it's okay.
Yeah, you get fat. You spend all the money that you've spent your entire life saving. But
you had a great fucking time doing it.
But I'm having a great time. I love life, absolutely. So I moved to Dubai because in Scotland I had set up my first sports injury company when I was 21, and it was doing podiatry. So my background is like foot and ankle medicine, lower limb medicine, bit of like sports injury type stuff. So I was a high level athlete across a few sports, and always been interested in sport. So when I went to uni, a lot of my study, I studied podiatry and foot and ankle medicine at university in Edinburgh. Always, whatever I was doing, I tried to relate it back to a sporting sense. So I knew that as soon as I finished my course, I went out into the real world to start earning money. It was going to be geared around sports. So I started as a sports podiatrist. And that meant basically I set up a clinic in Edinburgh where I saw people with lower limb injuries and issues, and started trying to fix them. And actually, I was very, very good at fixing them. So much so that over the period of 3 years, so from 21 to 24 years old in Edinburgh, over the period of 3 years, I had one clinic in Edinburgh, and then it grew to 3 sites across the city centre. So I had a couple of clinic sites in one part of town, and then another clinic site in another part of town. And my degree is sort of medical and medically based, as opposed to business based. And my business had grown in this time, and I was wanting to do things that every 24-year-old wanted to do. One, I wanted to train, so I was still competing at a reasonable level. Two, I wanted to go out with my mates. I wanted to see my girlfriend at the time, as well as make loads of money, have time off, etc., etc. But I just got so busy, and I was a bit cocky and arrogant and maybe overly confident. I didn't ask anybody for help. I just tried to run everything myself. I thought I could do it all myself. I could deal with all the staff. I could deal with all the payrolls. I could deal with all the accountancy books. I could deal with all the bookings. I thought I could do it all, and I couldn't. So I didn't enjoy life. So I sold the company and moved to Dubai to be a sports coach, like a springboarding platform diving coach. So I used to dive to a relatively good level internationally, Tom Daly style diving. So the Olympics has just been on, so that should be quite relatable to most. And I moved here to coach diving. And then after a couple of years, just wanted to get back into basically helping sports people get better and keep training and compete to the highest level. And since then, I've been quite lucky. I've worked with world champions like Carl Frampton, world champion, two-time world champion boxer, was a client of mine. I worked with him doing the for his final fight of his career. Oh, you've frozen, or you've fallen asleep. Oh, there you are.
I'm good.
I work with I work with a couple of UFC fighters. So Bam Bam tied to Ivasa. He's on a 3 fight winning streak with the UFC. I was
is
with him just
that the one that's been recently, like over the last this year?
Here from a shoe.
Yeah.
He does the shoe. So I do his physio and his rehab whilst he's in Dubai doing the prep for his fights. So I've sort of turned it around from being a sports coach in Dubai, struggling to sort of pay my rent, to go back into the field that I was in the UK, that I became successful at, and it's becoming more and more successful here in Dubai, and working with some big name athletes that are highly followed on social media and all over the TV, and I've been very lucky to meet a lot of those people here in Dubai and work with them. And I've done everything from Playboy bunnies to the royal family, and everything in between are my clients. So like it's a very interesting mix of people that you get to meet in Dubai. And it wasn't my goal when I moved here, but now that I'm here and now that I'm doing it, I don't want to change it. I love it.
I think that's the thing with Dubai, isn't it? Because initially when you first come here, it's pretty hard going. It's pretty hard going. Like you have a great blast, and then you're like, fucking hell, actually, it can spit you up and chew you out for sure. But I think if you have that mindset of you want to, it's very entrepreneurial, Dubai. Like I think if you're on an employed basis, I don't think it's the best place in the world for you. If you come here to be employed, I probably wouldn't recommend it, to be honest, half the time. Unless you want to have a giggle and have a good time on a Friday, like Thursday and Friday night sort of thing, then crack on. But the people that do very well here are that very entrepreneurial mindset. Because you network with people, like even if it's just like, oh, like the amount of people like you get mutual friends with, it's like, oh, okay, you don't know her. Oh, and then you go out for dinner with them, and then you like think just really little random things like that. It's nuts. So what was like, what's three, because obviously I've had a few personal trainers ask me this as well. What's like 3 tips you would give someone, anyone that's looking to move Dubai to move to Dubai?
To move to Dubai, 3 tips. Okay, there is a Facebook group called Brits in Dubai. It is apparently my internet connection's unstable. Can you still see me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, right, cool. 3 tips to move to Dubai. There's a Facebook group called Brits in Dubai. Everything from looking for health insurance, asking whether or not you can marry someone from another country, where can you buy Iron Brew in your favorite Cadbury's bar, like anything you need, whether it's getting set up in Dubai or whether it's finding something within Dubai, get spoken about on that Facebook group. So get involved in as many Facebook groups as you can that give you information about moving to Dubai.
So true.
If you are moving to Dubai to start your own thing or be freelance, whether you're doing what I do, whether you're a PT, whatever it might be, you have to be prepared to graft. Like it doesn't come easy. You have to work hard. All of my friends in Dubai, or the people that I surround myself with now, are all young entrepreneurial business owners. We've all come here, worked our bollocks off. Like when I first started this company, I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was doing 10 clients every single day. People would phone me, can I have a session in an hour? I was about to go do something. I would drop it and I would go see my client. Like, you just have to get into that mindset of working hard. People think they can come to Dubai, make money, bosh, put it in savings, go back home, buy property, buy a nice car, boom. Doesn't happen like that. Like, if you're not ready to work hard, and then Dubai is not the city for you. You have to come here with that graft. So join a Facebook group, or as many as you can about Dubai. Have the mindset and the drive to make it work. You have to work hard, otherwise it's just not going to happen. And I've done that for the last 6 months to a year, really worked my bollocks off, and now I've dropped to a sort of 4-day working week, technically a 3-day weekend, but one of those days is spent doing admin and other business stuff. So it's gone from 6-7 days a week to 4-5 days a week, with flexible hours. But I had to grind.
But also, this is the thing though, but this also comes back from when you were 21, not just in Dubai.
Yeah.
As well. So you've been grafting all that time. This is what people get misconceived. People go like, oh, how did you build a physique like that? Like what, like it looks like, it's like, because people just start looking into your life and they're like, how's he done this? I'm like, you didn't see the last 6 years before that, sort of thing. And that's the same sort of approach, like for you anyway. Yeah.
So you've always got to be a hard worker. The third thing, there's actually so many, like,
so many.
You've got to learn to be patient. Things in Dubai happen on inshallah time, like inshallah tomorrow. That probably means next Wednesday. So be patient, be organized. Do you know what, actually, the biggest thing for me, because I touched on it earlier, my company grew really fast and I tried to do everything myself and I hated it, sold the business, moved to Dubai. Now, starting this company in Dubai, 7 years older and wiser, because I was 28 when I started this business and I was 21 when I started the one before. I've asked so many people for help. It's not weak.
I'm so glad you said that. Help.
I have asked personal trainers that have their own business, people that own massage parlors and physio clinics out here, wealth management people, what the best budgeting thing is to do, people that invest in other companies. Do I need an investment? What should I do? My friends that own companies, how did you set it up? Who did you ask for help? Can you help me? Like, I just ask everybody and I listen to everyone around me. What did you do? How can I do this? Do you know anyone that can do this? Because like you said, everyone in Dubai is like networking and they want to connect. And what's nice about Dubai compared to the UK is people actually want to help you here. If you go,
it's weird. It's weird, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Someone will go, yeah, I got a social media guy. Here's his WhatsApp. Or
but then also, like what I love it. Sorry, like that's what I love about it is that there's no kind of procrastinating or anything like that. The reason people succeed at such a rate here is because, like, if I remember when I had to do some filming at Seven's gym and you were like, oh, I know the manager. So I text her and then we got in for free and did filming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things like that. So it's like, it's taking action all the time, asking for help, taking action on it very quickly. Because otherwise you will, if you wait here, you'll be waiting a long time, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. I think at home, it's like, oh, I'll do it on Monday. But here it's like, if you speak to somebody about something that you need help with, they'll go, oh, WhatsApp them now. And that's one of the neat things about Dubai, that everyone here has got a finance guy that will help you out, or a social media guy that will help you out, or you're moving house. Oh, I know a guy in real estate that will get you 5% off. Like, everybody wants to network and connect. And I think one of the cool things about living here and the experience I've had here is I probably drop people in WhatsApp groups with other people every day. I probably link different people for different things every single day. And that's one of the great things about Dubai. So to go back to your question, join as many Facebook groups as you can if you're looking to move to Dubai, about Dubai. Come here with a work ethic that's harder than you've ever worked. You need to work hard if you're going to make it work. And then ask for help. Ask everybody for help, and then give your own help and advice to people when you can, because they'll accept it and they'll appreciate it. and it will make them want to help you more. But for me, asking for help is definitely the biggest thing that's helped me get to where I am, by relying on other people. And it doesn't mean that you can't be self-sufficient, because I'm extremely organized and self-sufficient and do things myself. But if someone can help me and they want to, and everybody in Dubai does, then accept that help, or ask for it, even if you're not sure you're going to get it. Because they might turn around and say, yeah, I know an investor that's going to give you 100,000 dirhams, and away you go. So like, these types of things happen here all the time.
Yeah, and you can relate that to anything. Like, I always relate, literally the 3 points you said there, you can relate that straight into, if anyone's watching this from like fitness point of view, if you want to achieve drop body fat, build muscle, I'm like, exactly the same things. Network, talk to people. Oh, like, what do you do for training, sort of thing? And then again, work hard, be consistent, tick the boxes off that need ticking. And then what was the last one? And then what did you say for the last one?
Facebook.
Yeah, and that's it. And then
ask for help.
Same sort of thing. Like, literally those things apply to anything, because we were talking about visas the other day, weren't we, and stuff like that. And it was like, I think with like visa people, like, don't, like, if you want to move here, don't do it on your own. Pay money and like get a company to sort it for you. That's like generally the easiest thing ever, because otherwise, like, if you search it online and if you try and do it yourself, like what you've been going through, oh no, you don't have this sign, now you have to go here, and then you have to get a stamp from here to go here, and now, oh no, now this place is closed, come back on Tuesday, and you're like, fucking hell. Like,
one of the other things I learned from my previous business to the one I have here in Dubai is, when I was trying to do everything at home, it was a bit long, a bit tedious, a bit arduous. I didn't have time to do the things I wanted to. And only recently, and I've got a lot of friends now that are mentors and business coaches and things like that, and they've helped me see this, that spending a little bit of money or delegating to someone else that can do something for you then frees up more time to do the things that you need to do or you want to do. And it might have cost you a few £100, but the time you freed up is going to make you a few £1,000, and it's going to make you feel better and you're more productive. So yeah, definitely paying someone that knows 100% how to do it and letting them do it, rather than you knowing 50% and not really having the time to do it, is always worth the investment.
We were I was talking to this with Charlie as well. So obviously Charlie moved, like, bought a place over here and stuff like that as well. And like, we were signing documents for like Virtue Zone. I'm like, dude, if they want to take my arm in 5 years time, they can. Like, I don't know what I've signed, but they're like, not a clue. It was all this paperwork. I'm like, I trust you, just sort it out for me. That's literally it. But sometimes that's it. Like, you got to do it, sort of thing. And it definitely pays off, just to, like, if you have to do that yourself, like the amount of stress and time you'd waste, when actually say you can be putting into, you could go working out, you could be looking after yourself, you could be whatever, like anything. Yeah. It's just nuts.
And so, I'm gonna use that to plug it back into me and my business. Let's market myself a little bit. If you ain't got the time to like stretch or do your physio or do your rehab from your injury or your shoulder niggle, invest in somebody that knows how to fix it, like me. So let's relate this back to some of the people that are watching this are interested in fitness, and they might not be that interested in business. But like we've just spoken about, if you've not got the time, or if you're trying to do something and it's coming along slowly, invest in a specialist to help you so that you can make things come along quickly. So if you've got that ache or that niggle or that injury, or if you've plateaued, find a trainer or a physio or a massage therapist that's going to help speed that process along. You're always going to get a better result by asking someone else, a specialist, to help you, than trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's like literally, I can be the prime example. Like, I pay you every 5 weeks. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's like not cheap either. Like, it's not like, that's the thing. It's like, you put in a good amount of money, but also like, I've had a couple of comments saying like, oh, you've made very good progress this year with training. I'm like, honestly, because one, it's down to you and the service that I've got from you and the investment I put into you. And to be honest, moving here, like, you put yourself in an environment to succeed. Yeah. And that's literally all it comes down to. So very simple. Kind of to like wrap up a little bit, bud, like, if you could give,
didn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So if we could kind of give one piece of advice, if you can give that one thing that's going to take someone 1% further forward to tomorrow, what would it be? Maybe like one on maybe kind of business, and then one on one on the body, how to make their body feel better.
Cool. I like it. Well, let's go business first. So ask for help. Ask anyone around you for help, even if you think they might not be able to, because they might put you on to someone else. So whatever it is, whatever you're doing, even if you think you know everything, someone else is going to add value to that. Even if they don't know as much as you do, they might know something else. So in business, always ask for help, whether it's from a podcast, whether it's from a YouTube video, whether it's from your best mate, whether it's from a finance guy, they're going to know more about something than you. Just ask someone for help, because whatever they give you, even if you knew it, it reiterates it in your head. It's going to add value to you or your business or whatever it is that you're working on. So asking for help, it's not a sign of weakness. It's going to make you grow. For your body, aside from the usual, drink water, stay hydrated. That's the key. Do drink your water though, kids. My favorite thing in terms of advice that I give people when I assess them and help them with an issue is everybody brushes their teeth twice a day, daily. Well, you would hope, right? It's habitual. If you've got an issue or an injury or an ache or a niggle, and you've read that stretching your quads is going to make it better, or you've read that you've rolled your ankle and balancing on one foot is going to make your ankle injury better, do that exercise that you roll your eyes at and that you'd never want to do. Do that banded exercise to switch on your rotator cuff and move your scapula. Do it whilst you brush your teeth. Yeah, so brush your teeth morning and evening, and write on a post-it note whatever it is that is your physio, your rehab, your stretch, whatever it is. Write it on a post-it note. Stick it on the mirror where your toothbrush is, and do it whilst you brush your teeth. And then you're creating a habit for recovery, rehab, whatever it is, that's going to help you day to day, and eventually it's going to become a habit. And I guarantee you'll see a result very, very quickly. That's my favorite.
No, honestly, you nailed that, because that is literally just doing, that's the thing. Like, it's like going to the gym. We don't always want to go to the gym. We're not always motivated, but you got to get up, you got to get it done. It's the same sort of thing. It's the same thing. It's like, realistically, I don't want to do stretching, but I have got in the habit of doing 10 minutes post training every day now, sort of thing.
Yeah, once you do it a couple of times, that it starts becoming easier.
Yeah, so much easier. No, honestly, dude, absolutely amazing to have you on. Where can people find you if they want to stalk you, if they want to, obviously, if anyone's in Dubai, if they want to use your services and things like that?
So Instagram is the most amazing tool at the moment I've found for social and for business. So it's really easy. DXB Sports Massage, all one word on Instagram. DXB is the sort of the shorthand for the city Dubai. DXB Sports Massage, that's where you'll find me, and dxbsportsmassage.com is where you'll find our website, which is slowly building content because it's still new. It's the same on Facebook.com/DXB Sports Massage, and you'll find everything that you need on there with regards to booking. We're adding advice, we're putting offers on, all that kind of stuff runs through our social media.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll put some links below the YouTubes and Spotify and all this sort of stuff. Links below. So it's cool. But no, appreciate your time, buddy. I'll let you crack on with the rest of your day, and I will speak to you soon, mate.
Thanks, man. Good to see you. That went super fast. Yeah, thanks for having me on.